Welcome, my name is Oliver. I am a robot, but enough about me. This isn't about me, this is about Saul and Richard, and video games, and the universe. So come with us, or more specifically, with them. Enter the save state, save state, save state, save state, save state.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the Save State Gaming Podcast.
Yeah, episode 10, baby, we made it, woo!
Glad you could make it. Number 10, the hot dog and the polo, the skinny man, the donut.
Oh, is that a dig on me?
It's not a dig, Chud.
It is.
Oh, Chud.
You're clearly body shaming me, so.
Oh, no, Chud, you're beautiful.
Chud is such a fat person,
Beautiful.
man.
Chud.
I'll go with Chud, call me Rich.
Rich. Yes. Implies wealth.
Yes,
a certain
exactly.
degree of stature.
Ah, exactly,
Yeah.
that's me to a T.
Lovely. Right. Well, my name's Saul.
And as we've just discussed, my name is Rich, or Chud. Call me whatever you want, don't call me Rick, because I hate Rick for illogical reasons.
I've never called you Rick.
It's too sharp, Rick, it's too sharp.
Yeah, it's the hard.
Don't like it. It's
sound.
not very friendly, is it? It's not very approachable.
No. Let's stick with Rich.
Or Chud.
Or Chud.
Whatever, man.
Whatever. We're going to jump straight into it, as we normally do. Feet first with what we have been playing. You want to go first this week?
Yeah, sure. This week I've been playing Duke Nukem 3D World Tour. Did I mention this to you last week?
No, I don't think you did, no.
Basically, it's a remastering of the mid-90s classic
Duke Nukem 3D.
Duke Nukem 3D. Everybody knows about it. It's one of the cornerstones of 90s first-person shooters. One of the games that sort of really laid the groundwork for the first-person shooters that we play today. And in fact, thinking about it and speaking right now, it doesn't really get enough credit, does it?
No, I played Duke Nukem 3D fucking shitloads as a kid, and they were probably the first computer game titties that I ever saw. If you remember the level, you go into the strip.
Square titties. No,
Yeah.
Well, I didn't, and I was going to bring this up because my experience as a child of Duke Nukem 3D was on the N64.
Oh, even worse,
And
man.
the bit where you go into the strip joint, you get up to the strip joint, and imagine being a 10-year-old and hearing about this, and all your friends have told you about this weird ace game where you get to go and blow up aliens in a strip joint, and you get to give the naked ladies money.
Yeah.
And you get there, and there's the button, and you think, oh yeah, I'm
There
gonna
you go.
press this,
I'm in
and
it.
we're gonna get some action from my little 10-year-old mind. And you press the button, the door slowly opens, and it's like a barren warehouse.
Oh.
Yeah. N64 censorship, Nintendo.
Oh, really?
God
Oh,
bless
man,
them.
that's gutting. That's gutting.
They
Because,
changed,
like,
there was all sorts they changed about it.
oh.
So it wasn't until last week that I finally fulfilled my childhood fantasy and became an astronaut. No, I ended up finding square titties on a computer game.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
Duke Nukem Forever, that sort of blindsided you, didn't it? Because it was like in development hell for absolutely ages. And then I remember looking for like a games magazine of all things and seeing like Duke Nukem Forever out now or out in a month at game, and I was like, what is this, a joke? And I was like literally reading through all the small text and things like that, trying to find the goof.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was like Duke Nukem Forever was coming out next month out of nowhere.
And
I thought it had been cancelled, and then
It
it
was
came out.
still absolutely shit.
One of the worst games ever. I might go into town tomorrow and try and buy a copy because it's one of those games that's so bad it may in fact be. No, it's just bad.
No, it's bad.
So bad it's bad.
Really
but
bad.
You're taking
Really
joy
bad.
out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, like you were saying, like it really did lay the groundwork for a lot of really important 3D shooters. Like 3D Realms went on to do stuff like Shadow Warrior and a whole kind of lineage of first-person shooters that came out of that studio, which are still quite fondly looked upon today.
I've never heard of Shadow Warrior.
Shadow Warrior, they actually just rebooted it. So it's Shadow Warrior 2. Has just come out for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and 2 years ago a remake, or not a remake, but like a kind of reboot of the Shadow Warrior franchise came out as well.
Okay.
Really, really similar to Duke Nukem, crude humour, aliens, except this time you're playing as Lo Wang, who's a Chinese...
Lo Wang.
Lo Wang.
That's low-hanging fruit is
Yeah.
what that is.
So yeah, you can still, the humour's still there. But yeah, apparently it's really, really good. really, really good. Are definitely worth playing.
Well, I guess if you're a 3D Realms fan from the 90s, check that out.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to say is, I do believe, and the point I was trying to make is, that Duke Nukem 3D gets shafted in the conversation. People always go to Doom, which is better. I like Doom better, but I still feel like it's really bizarre how it never gets mentioned in the same conversation anymore.
Well, I think that, yeah. I mean, Duke Nukem started off as a 2D side-scroller, right?
It did, yeah. Little known fact.
Whereas Doom started, first as a FPS. But visually, like on surface level, they're fairly similar games, right? They're first-person shooters, but
go around, get the keys.
Exactly.
Colour-coded.
But I still think Doom is a far superior game.
Yeah, definitely.
Level design.
No, even were ripping it. We just turned my own fucking argument against it. So.
But yeah, definitely. Yeah, cool, man. Like, how much did you pay for it?
Like £6 steal.
Yeah, nice one.
Oh, we had a merry little adventure, didn't we, Saul?
We did. If you've been listening to this podcast, I've been promising Chud for about the last year that I was going to play Bloodborne with him. And we finally got round to it this week. And, we played about an hour, would you say? I fulfilled my
you
my
gave
side
me my
of the
hour.
bargain.
Well done, Saul. I had fun.
I did have fun.
Good.
Kind of. No, not really. I don't like it.
What don't you like about it?
I just find it not stressful, but I don't find it enjoyable. Is the only way I can put it. Like, it's a grind, which I don't generally like in video games all that much.
Okay.
I love the setting.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful game. I don't enjoy the combat.
That could be a problem then.
Because it's just it's so heavily weighted and like I get why people enjoy it because it's incredibly tactical and very, very hard, but it's just not why I play games. Like, I don't.
When you
like
say you find it stressful, do you not feel it? It's the sort of stress that you get when you play the old school Resident Evil games.
Yeah, and like from that stress comes like a great reward when you beat like a boss or complete that part. But like. Yeah. I think it's just my mentality at the moment of like why I want to play games. Like, I find myself going for the smaller 2 hour long experiences, which is why like I've loved playing Tales from the Borderlands. It's been absolutely superb. Bloodborne came at a time where I had a lot more time on my hands, and I put, like I said, about 20 hours in. But I just don't want to go back to it. I think my gaming habits have changed since then.
I release ye from thy debts, young Master Saul. Go now, and die in what way seems best to you.
So, we are, though, going to play Spelunky, right?
Oh, yeah. Find an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, Saul.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. But, yeah, okay. So I've played Spelunky with you before. Briefly.
Yeah.
And told you how much I hated it. I just don't like the way it controls.
That's fine. I get that as well. I understand that.
This is the day you have trained for, the day you have studied for. Utilize your superior skills, your superior intelligence.
Sit down, rodent!
Oh dear. Sarah, baby! Oh, you were one.
Don't make me hurt you. Learn to defeat your ruthless enemy, Steve of Hackensack.
Brian, you're gonna get roofed.
Shut up, quadruped.
Sega Dreamcast. It's thinking.
We were talking about Borderlands.
We were.
Yeah, so I think I'm about the same place as you when it comes to Tales from the Borderlands. I've just finished episode 1. Really enjoying it. The kind of end set piece of episode 1 is awesome. Really, really funny, well written, action packed. Really worth checking out. But recently, actually, a couple of days ago, the Handsome Jack collection came up on PS4 on the PSN store.
Right. Yeah.
£10 for Borderlands pre-sequel and Borderlands 2, which is a pretty good deal.
And you get all the DLC from Borderlands 2, which there was quite a hefty amount. There's like 5 pieces of DLC.
Yeah. And all of that I think was really good too. So,
I bet we never get around to playing any of it. So I remember that being the deal breaker. Oh, you get all the DLC from number 2 as well. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to play that. It ain't ever going to happen.
It's not. No, it's like there's a good 50-60 hours of Borderlands there, which is just. It's past its time, Like, I'm really looking forward to playing the pre-sequel because I never played that.
Yeah. Well, get on it with me, man. I'm only an hour in.
Yeah, let's do that. But I'm not going to go back to Borderlands 2. Fuck no. Like, I finished it a few years ago. Like, there's no point in going back to it. But yeah, pre-sequel. Let's do a bit of that together this week.
All right, no worries.
Yeah, sweet.
It's a date.
Can't wait.
How did?
I mean, I played a bit more of Horizon. I've got one more.
Going for that platinum, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
You don't care, do you? I don't care
about platinums, but
nearly got one again.
I've got one more trophy to get. It's a kind of grindy trophy. I forget exactly what it is, but I've done all the collectibles.
So where you've got to kill all of a certain type of robot?
No, I've done that one. It's
I got all the collectibles as well. I had a merry afternoon just walking around collecting things.
I'll tell you what it is. You've got to get the shadow armor. To get the shadow armor, you have to get 6 pieces of power cells from. Yeah, so I'm working my way through that. It'd probably take me about another hour maybe to get it, but I'll
take you about another hour to go on YouTube and find out where they are.
Exactly. So hopefully by the end of next week, I have another platinum to my name. Platinum number 8, I think it is. But not that I'm counting. Not that I care.
Not that I'm counting your platinum. No. Hey, I've got a platinum on Dark Souls 3, so what does it matter? And I've nearly platinumed Bloodborne.
Yeah, well, that's actually really impressive.
Thank you.
That's really impressive. I'm very aroused.
Night shift is bad enough without a stale liverwurst sandwich. Wazonski's liverwurst stays fresher longer and won't discolor lettuce. What's more, you can add a slice of cheese or a pickle. Wazonski's, formerly living things.
On to the news. Quite a few bits and pieces of news this week. I was expecting it to be a slow news week this week. 2 weeks away from E3, usually not much is going on, but a few bits and pieces I think worth discussing. Let's start with FarCry 5, because we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
So, last week we were talking about, or speculating about the setting, FarCry 5. We'd seen the logo, we'd seen the colours, the red, white and blue.
I was convinced that it was going to be a Western.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were. But it's not a Western, it is set in the States, but it looks, from the trailer that they've revealed, that it's modern day, or maybe slightly in the past, but
I believe it is modern day.
I think modern day is what they're going for. What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts?
Not bland, boring. Nah. I want more from Far Cry, especially now. The impression that I get is it's going to have an entourage of colourful villains and this, that, and the other, which is what it needs. Yay, double thumbs. That's what I want. But it's just the setting. It just strikes me as dull. I want more from Borderlands. I want it to go in different, more exciting adventures, especially after doing Caveman. I'd call it Borderlands Far Cry. You know what I mean? Especially after doing Caveman Far Cry.
Yeah.
So why not do Jurassic Park Far Cry or Vampire Far Cry? So seeing it set in this, is it Montana?
Yeah.
Seeing it in this modern day Montana. It just strikes me as like, it looks like Ghost Recon Wildlands. It just looks like they've just released that game, and it will have a lot of the same mechanics with the go to this and clear this out, and then you can see all the little things on the map,
outposts and all that kind of stuff.
And it's played, man.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's a formula that works, but they've been doing it for a long time now. And like, I love Far Cry games, and I'm going to buy it again day one. But I know what you're saying about the kind of the setting for me isn't particularly interesting. I think the idea of it being like a religious cult kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that could be cool.
It's going to hinge on the characters.
Yeah. As they usually do.
Yeah.
With like Vaz and
Vaz was legendary. Pediming was pretty good as well.
Yeah. So we'll see, but
the artwork looks it's the Last Supper, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, definitely like huge religious kind of undertones in the trailer and in the artwork, and like I said, apparently it's going to be centered around this kind of religious cult, and I think it's going to be quite relevant actually at the time that it comes out with the state of things in America. And I think that's quite interesting because this game's obviously been developed for 3, maybe 4 years, and so I think that it's
this smells like a game that isn't going to get released in Australia.
Yes. definitely yeah. The Australians, when it comes to any kind of controversy, whether it be drugs or prostitution or religion, they don't take too kindly to it, do they? They don't like
which is surprising, really.
Misinterpretation on a global scale, cultural ignorance by English cultural ignorance, football.
Hello, and welcome to English Cultural Ignorance, with me, Oliver the Robot. Richard just announced that he was surprised to hear that Australians don't take too kindly to prostitution, drugs and religious themes in video games. It is true that Australia does have a lengthy history of banning video games, even ones deemed suitable for release in other territories. Games such as 50 Cent Bulletproof, Blitz the League, BMX XXX, Crimecraft, Dark Sector, Dream Web, NC Falsely Accused, Hotline Miami 2 Wrong Number, Leisure Suit Larry Magna Cum Laude, Manhunt, Mark Echoes Getting Up Contents Under Pressure, My Q Labyrinth of Death, Mark, Necrovision, Paranautical Activity, Phantasmagoria, Postal 2, Reservoir Dogs, Risen, Saints Row 4, Shell Shock 2 Blood Trails, Silent Hill Homecoming, Singles Flirt Up Your Life, Soldier of Fortune Payback, South Park The Stick of Truth, State of Decay, Syndicate, Valkyrie Drive Bikini Fur and The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings. However, it isn't fair to assume that all Australians dislike drugs, prostitutes and other potentially offensive content. In fact, Australians spend more money per capita on gambling than any other nation. It's home to 20% of the world's poker machines. Former Prime Minister Bob Hawke set a world record for sculling 2.5 pints of beer in 11 seconds. Hawke later suggested that this was the reason for his great political success. Also, there have been instances of wallabies, an animal native to Australia, getting high after breaking into opium crops, then running around and making what look like crop circles. See, even the wallabies are at it.
Misinterpretations on a global scale. Cultural ignorance by English. English cultural ignorance. Na 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 football.
Speaking of games being pushed back, I believe, Saul, I owe you some money.
Yes, you owe me 20p.
10p, Saul.
Interest, mate. Interest, my friend. I'm a bank. I'm a business. I'm not a fucking charity.
You got to make your money somewhere.
I have 20p, you son of a bitch.
Alright, well, basically, tell them why I owe you the money, Saul.
So we've been talking about Red Dead Redemption for, well, most people have been talking about it for quite a while. And I was always thinking that it's not going to be out this year. It's going to be sometime next year. And
I was steadfast that it would be.
Yeah.
I told them to have faith.
I was right.
You were right. I was right.
So yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 has been delayed until I believe they said spring 2018.
I think they said early 2018.
Yeah.
Do you think they did it on purpose? Do you think, because that's what usually seems to happen with Rockstar games.
Delays, you mean?
Yeah. Maybe they do it to the media storm, the frenzy, up it up.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for it. I don't think. I don't know, man. Like, we don't work in development. I don't know whether game developers genuinely, they delay games on purpose to build, to kind of increase that hype train and the marketing.
I bet they do. I bet it does happen.
I bet it does happen in some cases. I think you're right. Yeah. Let's save that. Let's use that for question of the week. Let's talk about game delays for question of the week. Okay. But yeah, the news is Red Dead Redemption delayed until early next year, which I'm fine with, to be honest. I mean, it's going to be great, and if they want extra time to make it even better, fantastic.
Yep. I have no problem at all with the game being delayed for however long it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I can't remember the last time a game got delayed and I was like really, really gutted about it.
Yeah.
I think maybe with maturity and age you learn to wait and not just, there's other games to distract you.
Yeah.
Like, for example, South Park The Fractured Butthole was
Yeah.
supposed to come out last December. It's coming out this December now.
Yeah.
That's how many times it's been pushed back, and I really want to play that game. But when it got delayed, I was just like, oh, right, fine, yeah, cool. Because I want to play that game good.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think it's even more important when there's high expectations for a game, that I would rather it be delayed than it disappoint most people, So we'll find. Can't wait to play it, but I'm happy to wait another few months. With what we're talking, 8 months away now, something like that.
Hopefully, unless it gets delayed again, I can totally see it coming out Christmas 2018 now.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. But let's reverse bet here. I bet you it comes out at 10p. Double or nothing, so double or nothing. Christmas 2018. It's going to get pushed back to that. Do you want to take me on? Double or nothing. Put your money where your mouth is.
I'll take you on, but it's going to be out before Christmas. I would say. I'm going to trust them on this one. I'm going to say before April 2018.
I'm going to say it comes out in November 2017. 18, not 2018. Alright, next year.
So we're on 20p now, or 40p.
So it'll be 40p.
40p. Rolling in it, man. Rolling in it.
You can have half a Mars bar for that.
And, well, I don't eat Mars bars, do I?
Do you not? I don't know.
No. What could I get for 40p?
I don't know. 4 Freddos if this was 1995.
Yeah. Next piece of news for you we have this week is the Xbox Game Pass, which is kind of Microsoft's version of the Netflix kind of subscription service that they're offering for their games. And this is going to launch on the 1st of June with a quite attractive price tag of $7.99 a month, which is, in my opinion, pretty good for what you're getting. Do you know much about this?
I don't know what we discussed prior, that it's like PlayStation Now style thing.
Yeah.
So it basically streaming, as you say, Netflix video game service, which sounds cool to me.
Yeah.
But I remember last time we talked about this, I was under the impression that you had to download the games only, which really annoyed me at the time.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. But apparently you can either download or you can stream them if your internet's good enough.
That's good. I'm happy with that then, because it was just download anytime. As I made the point before, that isn't an instant access video games library, is it?
No,
especially if you've got shit
yeah.
internet speed.
Exactly,
It take you days to download a game.
Yeah.
But if it's like PlayStation Now, yeah, right on, I might give it a go. Is there a free trial?
Not that I know of. Not that I've been told. Yeah, I think it's just $7.99, like I said, from the get-go for the month. But I think it's a pretty good deal, like considering that it's launching with over 100 games, including things like Halo 5, Mad Max, Bioshock.
Mad Max?
Yeah. Did you ever play Mad Max?
No, I didn't. I'd put £8 down just to stream it.
Fucking great game.
Yeah.
Really, really, seriously underrated game, Mad Max. Very, very good. I'm a big fan of the latest movie and stuff like that, but the game itself, excellent. Really good. And I think, just to sweeten the deal, if you do get the Xbox Game Pass and you play one of these games, then you get 20% off if you decide to purchase it as well. Which if you do that for a couple of games a month, then you've made your £8 back straight away. You could look at it like that,
Yeah, I guess you could.
Yeah.
So what other games are on there?
I don't have a list, but there's a whole bunch of backwards compatible games as well. So stuff from the 360 that's on there.
Is there any Xbox original OG games? Because that'd be quite interesting to start doing that.
Yeah.
Like Knights of the Old Republic, I really want to play that game again.
That'd be great. And I don't see any reason why they wouldn't want to do it. Like, I think that, like Netflix, is going to be the deal where every month some games leave, some new games come on, that kind of stuff. So I think there's definitely scope for them to go way back into the back catalogue and pull some, you could have stuff like, I don't know, like Beautiful Joe or something. Well, no, is that Xbox?
That was GameCube. We're recording on the fucking Beautiful Joe game case for the GameCube.
What am I thinking of? Jet Set Radio Future, that's what I'm thinking.
That was one. That originally came out on the Dreamcast and the sequel was an Xbox One exclusive.
There we go. I knew I wasn't going mad.
You wet.
A little bit mad. But yeah, I don't own an Xbox One, but to me, I think it's a really good deal. Way better than what PlayStation Now offers anyway, because that apparently is not that great, but anyway.
No, I remember getting my free trial and not playing it, basically.
Yeah. The only issue that I've read about with the Xbox Game Pass is that currently there are no EA or Activision games.
How is that an issue?
Well, I think it's EA obviously published, huge, big sports franchises, which obviously do really well on the Xbox, but EA already have their own subscription service, so I totally understand why they're not on there. But apparently there's no Activision on there either, so there's no Call of Duties, that kind of stuff there. So there's a few big kind of gaps missing in the catalogue. But then again, I think that people that want to play Call of Duty aren't going to go and pay a subscription to play Call of Duty, right? They're going to buy the game, and that's them for that year, pretty much. So.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life.
On to the next piece of news. Not really that big a piece of news, but I think it's quite interesting. Kerbal Space Program, which is it was originally a PC game basically about building spaceships and getting to the moon. A bunch of devs that worked on Kerbal Space Program have been kind of bought up by Valve, and we're now working on an unannounced project. Don't really know what it is. But,
what is Kerbal Space Program?
Kerbal Space Program it's a very in-depth, very realistic physics simulator kind of, where you control a race of these weird creatures called Kerbals, and your job is to build a spaceship or a rocket to get you to the moon and back. Okay. So the game's kind of split into two parts. So the first part is designing the rocket or the vessel that's going to take you to the moon, and you have to, it's so crazy in depth that you have to pick the right thrusters. You have to take into consideration things like mass and weight distribution versus thrust and all this kind of stuff. You have to make sure you've got enough fuel. And there's thousands of components that are put at your disposal to be able to design and create the spaceship. So when you first start playing it, it's just trial and error, man. Like, you know, you'll build a rocket that won't even launch, it'll fall over and explode on the rocket pad and this kind of stuff. So, but as you get better at the game, you know, after maybe 10 hours of playing, you might actually get your rocket shift to lift off maybe 10 meters, but then it'll crash down and blow up and kill her, you know. So a lot of trial and error. But if you are interested in, I guess, space exploration or physics, then I think it's definitely for you. It's been in development for a good number of years, and they keep adding to it and adding different modes, and there's like a sandbox mode now, and there's a story mode and that kind of stuff. So very, very physics based, which I guess why Valve have kind of taken an interest into this, you know.
So what are they doing with them? Maybe Valve are entering the space race. Maybe they want to be the first person to put somebody on Mars.
Maybe
Gabe Newman on Mars.
Gabe Newell, yeah, the first person to play a video game on the moon. Who knows? Maybe Valve are building a headquarters on the moon. Then maybe that's where they're going to build Half-Life 3 in total secrecy. Yeah. Maybe Half-Life 3 is actually codename for a super weapon. Which blew your mind there, didn't I? Fucking hell, think about that.
Confused the shit out
about that. But yeah, just Valve are an incredible company. I read quite a lot about Valve and about how they work as a company and how they approach development differently to other companies, and they're phenomenal, really, really interesting.
Well, what makes them different from other companies then in regards to development?
Well, basically, like Valve, nobody at Valve has a job title, right?
Okay.
You're an employee of Valve.
Okay.
All of the Valve, from what I hear, everybody at Valve is free to move between whatever project that they want. So everybody's desks has wheels on. So if you want to go and work on one project, you just wheel your desk over to the next room and you sit with the dudes there and you work with them for a bit. And okay, now I want to go do something else. You move your desk over. So everybody is like, it's a very kind of fluid and dynamic way of working. Nobody's tied to one team or one department or one project. Okay. So, you know, for example, Valve, there have been people at Valve working on Half-Life 3 for years.
You think? You hope?
There will, like, for sure, there's probably been about 3 or 4 people working on that game. And probably at some points there were maybe 20 people working on it, you know?
Yeah.
Just an incredibly free and interesting way to approach game development. Like, we've talked about this before, Valve never really have to release another game ever again.
No.
Right? Because they have Steam, and that just makes...
You know, they've evolved past being just a video games developer. They've even evolved past being a publisher. Now that they're all in self-sustaining format.
Platform, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So there is absolutely no need for them to release another game again, but I think that they still have a lot of interest in video games, and I think especially in VR, I think we'll start to see some really interesting stuff coming out of them. But yeah, that's just a little insight into Valve for you. Supposedly the company handbook for new employees for Valve was leaked about a year ago.
Okay.
I had a really, really good read through that, and it was just incredible, like really cool insight into game development.
Right.
One of the coolest companies on the planet, and like any game developer that gets offered a job in Valve would snap it up. You know, you'd leave whatever studio you were working at and you'd go and work at Valve. So.
They did a pretty shit job policing Steam Greenlight, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, they're not perfect. I'm not, you know, but as far as game developers go, they're, you know, the best. Well, no, do you know what? Not in terms of game development, because they haven't released a game in fucking 5 years. But in terms of companies to work for and innovation, let's call it that. Moving on, another couple of pieces of news that we've got left for you this week. Friday the 13th, which was a fairly anticipated game in some circles, has been released. And you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, right.
Is that a reference to Friday the 13th?
Yeah, that's me.
That's just you. Alright, that's fine. Talk about Friday the 13th.
So it looks basically like Evolve, but with Friday the 13th skin. You play. Am I not right in that saying that? So basically, you've paid 4 or however many campers, camp counsellors, whatever.
Kids, teenagers, teeny boppers,
yes. And you've got to run around this darkened campsite at night on a scavenger hunt, looking for things to put together to escape, like the car battery, then the car keys, this, that, and the other. Or one person plays the monster, or Jason Voorhees in this case, and goes around, basically stalking, killing the campers. It looks really, really good on paper, and I've got friends at work who are smashing on about how great it is, saying to buy it, and if it was cheap I would do, but 30 quid, I don't know, because I've been hearing on the critical front that it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, the same. I heard it's janky as fuck. Unless you're playing as Jason, I heard it's not actually that much fun to play.
Yeah.
Just because, literally the only thing that you can do as one of the teenagers is run around and collect these bits. Like, you have no offensive capabilities against Jason. Like, if he catches you, you're pretty much dead. And it's just not that much fun. And there's no way. Whoever plays as Jason is completely random. So if there's 8 of you playing, you might have to go make 8 or more games before you even get to play as Jason, which is it doesn't sound too good to me.
The thing that I was most looking forward to actually was the thing that most appealed to me was actually playing as one of the campers, because the whole atmosphere of being stalked by Jason and then it's actually being quite scary.
Yeah, I think there is something to be said for that, but then I think the game in the state that it is doesn't have like any stealth mechanics where you're really able to like sneak around Jason or anything like that. It just seems a bit half-baked, shall we say.
Okay, fair enough. It does strike me as a game that I might get when it's on sale though.
Yeah.
6 quid seems like a decent price.
Yeah, I'd throw I don't know, 6 quid for me is a bit much, that, isn't it?
I'm not going above a tenner.
3 quid. I'll give him 3 quid.
Cheap bastard.
Yeah, well, Maltese, innit?
I was about to make that joke, but then I decided
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
2 more pieces of news, we'll whip through these. Wargaming, which are the developers behind such franchises as World of Tanks, World of Warplanes, all this kind of stuff. They've been in a bit of hot water lately, but they seem to have come good on their original criticisms. And the story behind this is that they released a new premium tank, which costs $80, right?
Okay.
Basically the price of more
$80?
$80, more than the price of a brand new game.
What?
Right?
I didn't realise it was that much.
Yeah,
$80?
$80
Fuck.
For a tank. And a few people in the community, one guy in particular, I forget his name, but he'd been a long-standing member of the World of Tanks community, and he was very vocal about his outrage, to
$80
about this fucking outrageous price tag. And on top of that, you then have to buy what they're calling premium ammo.
Taking the piss or what?
Yeah. So I think I've not really played. I played World of Tanks for about 2 hours, but that's outrageous. Absolutely outrageous to be able to have to pay for an in-game item, right? So he was quite.
$80.
Yeah, he was very vocal about his
I don't
disdain.
blame him. That's ridiculous. Think about this. Just put this into context. Again, okay, is it free to play? Yeah, it's free to play. Fair enough. Okay, there is expected to be some degree of microtransaction, but try and justify to me how you'd pay more than a full price for a game for a fucking tank for a vehicle in a game. Basically, and isn't the old outrage this? It sort of tips it in the favour of pay to win.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's slightly overpowered than the rest of the vehicles, and especially if you then pay to get this premium ammo.
So basically, if you're rich and you spunk all your money away, then you're just going to be mauling people.
Exactly, yeah. If you've got any idea how the game works, I think you'll do very well with this tank. But like, the premium ammo as well is like a whole other conversation that we could have, which I don't think we should get into because it's fucking ridiculous, man.
$80.
Yeah. So this guy was very vocal.
I don't blame him.
And Wargaming basically removed him as a community member and put a copyright strike on his YouTube video.
Does the truth hurt?
Yeah, exactly, that kind of deal. So since then they've actually walked back on that, realised that they made a mistake by banning one of their, very well respected community members, and have rolled back on that and basically apologised. They're not changing the price of the tank or anything like that, but they're saying that the way that they went about handling the whole situation wasn't very tactful or consumer friendly,
Yeah.
So a bit of credit due there, but they're still charging $80 for a fucking bunch of pixels. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But anything else you want to say about that?
Just to put that into context, though, when Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out, how much will that be in dollars? About $60.
Yeah.
So you're going to pay $80 for this tank, you play $60 for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Exactly.
Imagine if Red Dead Redemption 2 sucks.
Oh,
that's off topic.
No. I mean, it's,
is it you? Because it's the buzzword now, isn't it? Oh, I can't wait for this game. It's the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time at the moment, isn't it?
the world would literally end, I think. Like, literally just...
That's what would finally piss Kim Jong-un off enough.
Yeah.
That he completely freaks out and launches the nukes.
Yeah. Last piece of news we have for you this week is kind of a bit of stupid news, but we've known about the Crash Bandicoot Remastered Trilogy, the Insane Trilogy as it's called. It's actually going to have 3 platinums.
What have I got?
So I'm guessing 1 for each game.
You've wet the bed, Saul.
Oh my god.
So
I'm sorry. I will probably play through these games. I don't think I'm going to go for the platinums. I'm not the biggest Crash fan, but I imagine some people are.
I'm sure it must have analog support, right? You'd expect that as a given, right?
I would fucking hope so.
I bring this up because me and my friend about a year or two ago downloaded the first Crash Bandicoot on like a drunken whim, and we were playing it, and it is really hard to play, if not almost unplayable, due to the D-pad support.
Yeah.
Because imagine playing this 3D platform with a D-pad. Some of the jumps are incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Not because of like skill or expert platforming, just because the controls are fucked.
Yeah. I mean, we managed it back in the day, though, right? I mean, that
was half the challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game with analog support, I might actually be playing it. If it's reasonably priced, which it won't be because they never are. Like I mentioned probably last week, Final Fantasy 12, I was really looking forward to that. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to get it when it gets re-released, but not for 40 quid.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I will say this, that it looks absolutely stunning.
Which one are we talking about now?
You.
Oh.
Hey! The Crash Trilogy. Okay. It looks absolutely beautiful. Yeah, absolutely stunning.
From what I've seen, they've updated the graphics quite a lot, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Well, so they've actually kept the original geometry of the levels. Like, the geometry is exactly the same as it was for the for the original games.
Well, yeah, they've just reskinned the graphics, haven't they? They've
exactly,
not designed the game from the ground up.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'll give it a playthrough. I'm, like I said, not the biggest Crash fan, but yeah, I'll have a look into it.
One of PlayStation's failed attempts at having a mascot.
Yeah.
What were the other ones? Remember, I think the worst one was, the very first one was like a weird polygon face, wasn't it? Do you remember this?
Yeah, that's right.
What was that all about? It's the ugliest thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think the closest that we've come to is probably Aloy, right? Aloy in Horizon. I think she's a really good mascot, and I think
she's not the mascot for Sony, though, is she?
No, but I think that she's about as close as we're going to get. And I think with Horizon 2, I think she'll get bigger. And
I think Sony have passed the point of ever having a mascot. But back in the day, when I think back of it, weirdly enough, and I think a lot of people will agree with me, you almost think that the mascot was Lara Croft.
I was going to say that.
True.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, she was... You know, Tomb Raider also came to PC as well, but originally it was, PlayStation game.
There was going to be a Tomb Raider 64, but that never happened.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That was in development at one point.
Huh. So yeah, I think that's a really good point. In fact, so I think from that we can draw that,
Nathan Drake surely is, but he's not.
Yeah,
he's not
a mascot though, is he?
Because
Really?
you don't need a mascot. Because a mascot, like Nintendo, they're more of a mascot is a kid-friendly or a kid-centric company, isn't it? If you're more into multimedia or adult-orientated gaming, adults don't need mascots in the same way that children do.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which is
Yeah, I think you're right. Like generally, mascots are used to bring in the younger generation. Like Ronald McDonald, right? Yeah. No adult sees, oh, that clown looks rather trustworthy and looks like he prepares lovely food. I shall eat in that restaurant. No, we think he's a fucking creep and a bit of a weirdo. But yeah, I think children seem to love him. So yeah, I think you're right with the mascots are used to bring in the younger generation to whatever product is being sold. Nice one, Chud.
I'm alright, thank you.
Question of the week.
On to question of the week. Talking earlier about Red Dead Redemption, I thought we'd maybe delve into the issue of game delays and why are so many games nowadays delayed?
Because so many games nowadays are under pressure by the publishers to get out within a certain window, and then it comes to crunch time and you realise the game isn't done, then you start to have this conversation internally. Can we get away with releasing this? Sometimes they do, Assassin's Creed Unity. Sometimes they don't, and a game is delayed. Such as, I don't know, pick one. Horizon. That was delayed.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So I want to play a game that's finished.
Yeah.
I don't want to play janky Frenchman with no face game.
So do you think the game delays are generally a decision, whether a game is delayed or not, do you think that's a decision taken by the publisher, or do you think it's in partnership with the developer as well?
I'd say it was in partnership, mainly down to the publisher, because the publisher is the money bags.
Yeah.
And the money is in control.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if it isn't done, the publisher it's a bargaining thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if they can't sell it, then you can't sell it.
Yeah.
But I reckon, as I was mentioning to you earlier, that maybe some games get delayed to sort of whip up that hype train, because that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if you announce a game like a year before you intend to, or maybe not so, in some cases, release it, and then 3 months before release you're like, oh no, sorry, we're going to take it away, we're going to improve it.
Froth your mouth, don't you? You want it, like, I want it. It's going to get even better. Yeah. Oh, it's going to get even better. Yeah. And the best example of this was when I was a child, and it was Ocarina of Time for the N64. I think it got put back so much, it took like 3 years in the end.
I think you're right, yeah.
And I remember with every delay I needed it more and more, and it was the most I'd ever been excited about a game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I think it's a decision on both parties, like you said, between the publisher and the developer. I think that there's a few things to be said here in terms of the developer side, where I think generally people that play games have like a completionist mentality, right? They like to get every collectible, look in every corner, explore every nook and cranny, that kind of thing.
Get your money's worth.
Yeah. And I think that also applies to game development, where people are perfectionists, They want things to be as good as they can be, as with most people do with their art,
Yeah, most game developers do.
Yeah. But I think, when, like you were saying, when you've got a publisher looking over your shoulder saying, you've got to fucking get this out in the next 3 months.
Ubisoft are a bad example of that.
Yeah, I think, you're right. Look at like Assassin's Creed Unity and,
Assassin's Creed Face.
Floaty Face Man.
That should be PlayStation's next mascot. They should buckle down on the rights to that French dude with no face.
Yeah. I think that, I was reading a little bit about this earlier on, and it's very, very hard to schedule a project that is going to last 3 or 4 years, right?
Yeah.
To kind of schedule something that far in advance, it's virtually impossible, especially when you've got, if you're working for a AAA developer and you've got studios and people based all over the country and all over the world having to come together and communicate. It's so hard to get all of those pieces to kind of fit together at the right time in the right place. Almost impossible, I would say. And so there are going to be delays, because I think that if you look at like what comes at the end of game development, right? Things like audio and visual effects, I think generally happen towards the end of game development. And so if something happens towards the start, then that has a knock-on effect to the rest of the cycle.
Yeah.
And you can't do, for example, audio before animations and stuff like that are finished, right? So I think that one thing has like a domino effect and it knocks the whole schedule back. So I think it's really interesting. I think that like we said before, game delays for me, I'm not bothered. I'd rather you take your time, and make a finished product that you guys are happy with and that is going to hopefully meet the expectations of the product. I think it all comes down to expectations. It all comes down to expectations. If there's no expectation for a game, then maybe you can release what some people might consider a substandard game that isn't quite as finished.
Sure.
But anything else about delays? Like, has there ever been a delay for you where you've been pissed? Like, I was really looking forward to playing that game, and now that maybe you cried yourself to sleep.
Time was the only one that I was really, really bothered about.
Yeah.
And then after that, I just whatever, man. Yeah. I'm not asked to. I'd rather game be good than shit.
I remember watching some really awesome fucking YouTube videos when Grand Theft Auto 5 was delayed, and people are literally like crying. Like, Rockstar, why would you do this? I'm gonna, like, literally dudes saying they were gonna kill themselves because a fucking video game was delayed. You're like, get a grip. Get a grip. If this game is so important to your life, then you have a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's a funny side to it as well. Go and check out.
Leave Britney alone.
Exactly right.
It's the video games version.
Exactly. Yeah. So go check out those videos because they're pretty funny. They're pretty funny. That about brings us to the end of another episode of the Save State Gaming Podcast. So this has been episode number 10. Thank you very much for joining us. My name's Saul, and you can find me on Twitter at mynameissaul.
My name is Richard, and you can find us both at Save State Gaming or at Twitter. Twitter, sir! So Save State Gaming at Twitter.
Yep.
Please do come and follow us. Yep. And here is to another 10 glorious episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been really good so far, so thank you very much if you've, again, been listening to these, supporting us and for all the feedback we've been getting.
We really, really do appreciate it, Scotty.
Thank you, Scotty. So, once again, thank you very much, and tune in next week for another incredible, earth-shattering, life-affirming episode of the Safe State Gaming Podcast.
It'll change your life.
Music for this week's episode was provided by Joakim Karud, Kevin MacLeod, Ben Sound, Silent Partner, MK2, Artificial Music, and Brock Berrigan. And you can find links to all of their work in the description.